Talk more about today's dramatic verdict as a longtime friend of Michael Jackson's and, I'll admit, of mine, the Reverend Al Sharpton. We are honored to have you here, Reverend Sharpton. Thanks.
Glad to be here. Congratulations on your new show, Tucker.
Now, in order to think this verdict, thank you, in order to think this verdict is good news, you got to believe that this boy, the alleged victim, and his brother are both lying.
No, I think in order to think this verdict is good news, and I do, is that this jury, despite the media's attempt to demonize Michael Jackson, I think rose to the level of saying that if they were not convinced beyond a reasonable doubt, they were not going to convict him based on whatever biases they had, and they said in the press conference some of them came in with biases, or whatever they considered different or strange, but based on criminal behavior. And I think that is what the criminal justice system's supposed to do. Now, that's a good thing.
I've heard a couple people make a similar point this afternoon tonight, that the press was demonizing Michael Jackson. That's clearly a point he and his advisors wanted to make. At one point, he compared himself to Nelson Mandela. Do you think that's a fair comparison?
But the fact of the matter is they compared him to a criminal, and the jury said no. That's what I'm saying.
Right? He was accused of child molestation. I mean, that is a
And the jury said
offense.
no. I mean, like even tonight in this situation, pun intended, we're still talking about Jesus juice. Well, we don't even know if that's a fact. The jury acquitted Michael. We're still talking about all of the allegations as if they, in fact, were proven to be true.
Well, okay, I don't want to retry the case, obviously. It has been decided. But let me just throw one fact out there that I think is kind of compelling. Michael Jackson's fingerprint and the fingerprint of the accuser, a child, were both found on a pornographic magazine. That's a fact. No one disputes that.
And compelling to who? It did not rise in the judgment of this jury to a criminal act. I mean, you just compared Michael to Paris Hilton, but no one's charging her with a crime, and clearly there's been bizarre behavior by her. I know a lot of people in the entertainment industry. I don't consider any of them to not engage in bizarre activity. It does not make them a criminal, and I think that's what a lot of people that supported Michael said. I also think that a lot of the things that Michael has been sensitive and supportive of has been overlooked. I think it is true that Michael was in many ways Jacko until he stood up and started talking about things in the music industry. He came to National Action Network and dealt with his problems with Sony. All of a sudden he became wacko. Well, Michael didn't change that much. I think Michael decided to
Reverend Sharpton, with all due respect, I just funny you should mention it, went back and read the clips from, I think, 3 years ago, the incident you're talking about when you marched up to Sony Music headquarters with Michael Jackson, and he referred to Tommy Mottola, the chairman at that point of Sony Music, as, a, quote, a racist and very, very, very devilish. And the next day you gave an interview to the New York Post in which you said, I have no idea what he's talking about. Tommy Mottola is not devilish, and he's not a racist.
No, what I said was that I had no personal experience of that, and that Michael came to a forum at National Action Network and expressed himself. He dealt with the president of the company. I didn't. Just like you tonight are making allegations about Michael that I have no experience with. But I clearly agree with Michael that there was a lot of problems with particularly black artists in the industry, still is, and a lot of people have been undermined. And I think that began a lot of Michael's problems in the music industry.
Well, I don't personally see a racial component to the story, but since you brought it up, I wonder what you make of the fact that he was acquitted on all charges, even the misdemeanor charges, by what was essentially an all-white jury. It had no black members. I believe there was an Asian woman and at least one Latino man, but it was not particularly a jury of color. Does that strike you as odd?
No, I think that's good. I think it showed that this jury was able to rise above all of that, but I don't think that this is a model to say that people should have all-white juries and that people should not be judged by their peers. I happen to think these 12 jurors did a tremendous service to the American criminal justice system because they clearly said at their press conference, they were not there as fans, they were not even there with people that didn't have doubt, but they didn't feel the evidence met the level that it should.
You just said that Michael Jackson should have been judged by a jury of his peers. I've wondered this the whole time. What would a jury of Michael Jackson's peers look like?
What would a jury of Paris Hilton's peers look like?
I don't know, but one celebrity at a time here.
What does anybody's peers look like? I think that we clearly in the criminal justice system have a broad understanding of peers in terms of people's racial background, in terms of people's a similarly situated situation. And I think clearly we know where Michael Jackson would be there. Again, all of us can get off jokes, but when we're talking about something as serious as people going to jail, I think we should respect the criminal criminal justice system and the risk of someone being wrongly convicted.
Or as serious as the molestation of children. Now, you were...
Absolutely. Which is why none of us interfered with the trial. The trial ran its course, and 12 jurors said not guilty.
Right.
And the American media needs to get over it.
It doesn't, of course, mean that they reached the right decision. O.J., for instance, obviously guilty and still got off. But let me just ask you this
Obviously
question.
guilty to who? That jury said not guilty. You know, when we fight cases and juries come back, Tucker, when we fight cases and juries come back, you tell us to accept it.
Okay.
Let's get straight in the situation from the first night. We must have one stand.
Let's talk about the future for a sec. You were in the music business for a while. You worked with James Brown. We're a producer. You know a lot about it. Do you think Michael Jackson has a future in pop music?
Absolutely. I think that Michael Jackson has artistic expertise. I think that, if anything, sometimes a lot of the hidden and sometimes latent talent comes back under adversity. I would not write Michael off at all. L.A. Reid, one of the most prominent members of the music industry, said he would bring him out tomorrow. I don't think Michael is washed up, nor should he be.
Now, very quickly, Mr. Sharpton, we're almost out of time, but you just saw a tape there on the screen of Michael Jackson walking and a man holding an umbrella over him. What is that about? Why the umbrella?
I don't know. I've seen people hold umbrellas with people walking down Fifth Avenue in Manhattan. I never stopped and asked them why.
But not people wearing epaulets and some dark glasses. Reverend Al Sharpton.
Maybe they're hiding from the sun. I don't know.
It is great to have you on.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Good luck with your situation.
Thanks.